Hey, everybody. I am so sorry to keep you waiting. Here we are, ready to rock and roll with our series, Stop Sabotaging Yourself. 8 things you do to block your own success. And tonight we are doubling up. So we have done 4 things so far, 4 success blockers. And we're going to do 2 tonight. So we're going to do 5 and 6. And then we're going to do 7 and 8 tomorrow night. And we will be done for now. And I'll let you know tomorrow what you can expect for follow-up after this series. So I am Simone Elbow, this life coach. It's such a good thing for us to be able to gather these evenings. Those of you who have been following every single night, I appreciate you. I celebrate you. For those of you that are joining for the first time, I say welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's so good to have you a part of this. Hi there, Trisha. Good to see you again. Welcome back. And I am so excited about the 2 that we are going to cover tonight. Trust me. Well, the last 4, really. I'm really excited about the last 4. And I think that all of these are so relevant to us today. And I know that over the last few nights, a lot of these things have been resonating. I know, Trisha, you said, yeah, it sounds like you're talking to me. And Renee said the same thing. So we all experience these things, and it's not uncommon. The fact of the matter is, before we get into another year, we want to get a grip on ourselves. We want to get in control of our lives and of our progress. We have the power to do this. We are able to do this. So there's no excuse, really. We just have to take control, get with the program, and get moving. So I hope that you are ready to rock and roll with me tonight. And I am certainly ready to rock and roll. I am ready to rock and roll. Hey, Renee, you heard me calling your name, eh? I was calling your name just now. So let me just get my screen going so we can get ready and get started. Okay, here we are. Okay, here we go. All right. So the 8 things you do to block your success. And to summarize, for those of you that may be joining for the first time, the first 4 that we have covered. Night number 1, we did the blame game. And we talked about how we blame people and places and circumstances and situations for why we are not succeeding. And then we talked about procrastination. And tied to procrastination is perfectionism. So always putting off, not making progress because we're not doing anything. We're not taking action. And number 3, we talked about inconsistency, stopping and starting or not starting at all. And that blocks our success because, again, we're not moving. We're not making progress. And last night, we talked about a biggie, silence, when we do not speak up and we do not show up for opportunities in our lives. And so we are ready to go with item number 5, success blocker number 5. Here we go. Oh, and I just remembered I need to make the video public. Oh, well, that may not happen tonight. So number 5 is excuses, excuses, excuses. That's number 5, folks. Making excuses is the number 5 success blocker that we have in our lives that causes us to not make progress. Excuses, excuses, excuses. So we want to jump right into hearing what some of these excuses can be. So what do your excuses sound like? These may sound like some of yours. I'm too tired. How many people have said that before? I am too tired. You don't know what it's like. You don't know the job that I have. You don't know the kind of day that I had, the kind of week that I had. You don't know the responsibilities that I have. I just don't have any energy. I don't have any strength to do anything extra. Can I tell you that successful people will tell you, and I'll never forget Dr. Miles Monroe, God bless his soul, would always say, great people don't sleep much. And he would say he would have maybe an average of 4 hours sleep a night because he's up when everybody else is sleeping, when everybody else is making excuses. He is up, writing, studying, reading, preparing, planning. They say that, if you are on a 9 to 5, that your second job should be whatever time after that 9 to 5. So if you're putting in 9 to 5 or 9 to 6, then you should be putting in at least another hour or 2 into your passion projects, your purpose, your vision, those things that you want to launch, those things that you want to pursue, whether that's continuing your education, exploring a new idea, writing a book, painting, creating, writing music, whatever it is that you have in your heart to do. Saying that you're too tired. And trust me, I understand what tired is. And there are times when I do feel like I am too tired, but I push anyway. And I have people who will say, I don't know how you do it. It's like, you look like you are doing so many different things. Like, how do you do it? How do you balance all of it? How do you get it done? And you just have to push. You have to make that extra effort. So tiredness isn't an excuse that you can use, because there's always a way. Either you can wake up earlier in the morning, go to bed early at night, get up through the night and get something done. Maximize. If you got to get a sitter or you got to get somebody to help you around the house, that would take a particular task away. If you spend 3 or 4 hours doing laundry and cleaning the house, then maybe it's more cost effective for you to get somebody to do those tasks for you. And you can have 4 or 5 hours to work on your dream or your mission. There's always a way. There's always a way. Then you could say, well, I'm too busy. You don't know what I have on my plate. As the Psalm says, my cup overflows. My plate is overflowing. I have so much going on. I can't squeeze in another activity. So my question or my challenge to you would be, if you're saying that you're too busy, then you need to examine the activities that you have going on. So if you can't squeeze another thing in, then you need to see what you need to take out. And many times that's our struggle. What to take out of our lives, what to take out of our day, our evenings, our weekends. I shared with you all before. One Saturday was the epiphany for me. Like, I knew I was too busy. But that particular Saturday, 10 to 12 hours of pushing straight through the day from the morning till the night on stuff that had nothing to do with me personally and my vision, my projects. But I put 10 to 12 hours into other people's stuff. So that meant that I could have pulled out at least 3 of the activities that I was doing, which would have given me time to work on myself or to just take care of myself, to take time for myself. So too busy is an excuse. Too broke. How many of us say we don't have the money? I don't have the money to do what I want to do. I don't have the money to get started. I don't have the money to finish. Can I tell you something? That you don't always need money to get things done, but everything you need is already in your life. A good friend of mine was sharing with me the other day on how he had to pivot his business. And it wasn't even just COVID. It was just, when people kind of freak out and he had to move suddenly from his location and set up another location. And he was like, after he got over the shock of it, and he just sat still and he made time to just pray and meditate and figure out, okay, what do I do next? Then it came to him, you have a building of your own. Why don't you go and deal with that and turn that around? And then his next thing was, well, I don't have the money to do it. And the next leading that he got was, well, ask some people. And he said it was like sweatless, painless. The people that he was led to ask, all, no problem. What do you need? No problem. What do you need? The people were there to help transform the place, and he's operating today. The lack of money, which is a temporary condition, is not an excuse. In the church, we say favor is better than money. And what does that mean? That means when you have good relationships, when you have a good reputation, people will favor you. People will bless you when you least expect it, and sometimes when you don't even have to ask for it. Prices will drop to favor you. People will give away things to favor you. Their time. They will volunteer their time to favor you. I can tell you in one of my books, actually, I think I have the book right here. I think it is this book. It's called By Design, Principles for Choosing a Career. And I share my story of not having the money to do my master's degree. Yes, it's right in here. It is in chapter 3. What kind of preparation do I need for my career choice? And I remember in the year 2001, I had this desire to continue my education. I had already graduated college in 1990 with my bachelor's degree. And I was ready now. This was some 11 years later. And I'm like, I want to do my master's. And I didn't have any money. I had no money. Trust me. But I started looking online. I started looking for a program that could suit my circumstances. I couldn't leave. I was working. At that time, I was married. I'm not now, but at that time I was. And so I had to factor both of those things into consideration. That I couldn't go away and do a 2-year program, which was a typical duration of a master's degree at that time. It wasn't in that era of all these online learning that was just emerging at that time. So I started to search. I'm looking around for different programs, and I never heard of this university before. And it's called Rochester Institute of Technology. Never heard of it before. And I went on their site, I don't know how, and I saw their master's program in human resource development, career and human resource development. And I started reading through, and I was like, "Ooh, this sounds perfect for me," because it was not a full-time residency requirement, just 2 sessions in the summer. So one session in June, one session in August. Then you would do a project in the time. So between August and the next June, you would do a project. And then you'd come back in June. And then you'd come back for the last session the following August. So I was like, this is doable. I could use vacation. I could do this, you know. And I said, let me apply. I applied. The application fee was like $40. I pulled out my credit card. I knew full well I did not have $40 on my card. I was a teacher at that time, you also. And was I a teacher? No, I was working in the public service. So I didn't have $40 on my credit card. But I did it anyway. It felt good, right? So I filled out the application, put in my credit card number and everything. It declined as I expected it. And I just said, oh, well, at least I found a school. I found a program. Oh, well, whatever. Do you know, it was maybe a week or so after that the school contacted me. In fact, they called me. And they said, hi, my name is such and such. I'm calling from RIT. And I was like, yes. And they're like, we got your application and we're looking forward to having you come over. And I was like, okay. And we hung up the phone, and I still didn't really think much of it. I didn't pay, much mind to it. And the following week or two, I get this FedEx package at work. And I opened the package, textbooks. Then I panicked. I was like, okay, now these people really think I'm coming. I don't have any money. And so I was like, what could I do? What could I do? And so at that time, I was stationed at the Ministry of Education. And so I went over to the scholarship division. And at that time, they were introducing the guaranteed loan program. So what the government was doing was being your guarantor with a school loan with a local bank. So I went over and I asked, would I be able to apply for this guaranteed loan? I'm accepted into a program. Could I apply? And so they said, well, the deadline is already passed. And I was like, oh, man. They said, but anyway, you work here, so we'll see what we could work out. Just submit everything and so forth. So I submitted everything, and I was waiting. And of course, just waiting now. And so started to get close to June. And I checked back a little bit with the loan people, didn't hear anything. And, those things take time. And of course, I had passed the deadline. So I said, you know what? I said, these people sent me these books and all this stuff. I said, I better just let them know that I can't make it. So like a week before, I called them. I called the lady and I said, I'm so sorry. I said, I applied for a scholarship. I haven't heard back from them, but I really want to come, but I'm probably going to have to push it to next year. You're not going to believe what that woman said to me. And you're probably guessing right now. She said, come, we're waiting for you. And I was like, what? Like, what university in the world will tell you to come without money? I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was blown away. She was like, come, we're all ready for you. Just come on over. And I was like, wow. So I scrambled into action. I took my whole little paycheck for that month and bought my ticket because now it was so close To the time, the ticket prices was sky high to go to New York. This is where I had to go. And so my ticket ended up being like $800. So I only had like a couple $100 left over after I paid that. I was like, Lord, anyway, I am going by faith. I am going. I said, this door opened for me. I am going to do this thing. And that Sunday, the following Sunday was when I got my flight. I'm all ready to go. I went to church first. And a girlfriend of mine, I was on the praise team. She was on the praise team. And somehow we got into a conversation. Oh, I know. I think I told her, I said, girl, guess what? I said, after church, I am getting a flight. I am going to New York to start my master's. And she was like, what? Are you serious? I said, yes, girl. And after church, when I'm leaving, she runs up behind me and she was like, she pushed something in my hand and she said, I'm sowing a seed. I'm sowing a seed into your life because I want to do that too. I want to do that too. And I was like, what? I was like, thank you so much. And when I opened it, it was a US $50 bill. I was like, thank you, Lord. I could eat McDonald's when I get there. I could catch a taxi to the school and eat McDonald's. So I was like, yes, thank you, Lord. So I go and get to the airport. I'm on the line waiting. A few minutes pass by, and then I see my older sister come running, and she's dripping sweat. She's like, oh, I thought I missed you. Oh my gosh, I thought I missed you. She pushed this big wad in my hand. I was like, thank you, Jesus. She said, I wanted to give you this so you could go. And I was like, oh, thank you, Lord. And I just shoved it in my bag. I didn't even look to see what it was. And man, she gave me a good little wad, man, a couple $100. I was like, ooh, thank you, Lord. I could eat for these 2 weeks. And I got on the plane, got over there, got a taxi to the school, and we entered the campus. And I'm looking at these old brick buildings, and I was like, oh my God. I say, no wonder they wanted me to come. This looked like a hot mess. What in the world? All my heart and everything dropped. And so he took me to the building. I got my key, and they explained to me where to go, where I needed to go for my building and everything. And I was like, oh Lord, this looked like a dump. And when they pulled around to the buildings where I was, it was these brand new buildings, 2-story, beautiful buildings with they look like how our buildings look, like with clapboard, almost a T111 or whatever you call the siding. And I was like, ooh, okay, this is looking good. Nice building and everything. And I went in there, and it was a 4-bedroom apartment. A 4-bedroom apartment, washer and dryer, all the washing supplies. I go in the kitchen, on the counter, there's a plate of cookies, and it's saying welcome. They have snacks and drinks in the fridge. I was like, hey, won't he do it? And I went into those classes, and let me tell you, they didn't treat me like I hadn't paid. They treated me like I paid in full up front. It was amazing. It was tough work, but it was amazing. And I went back home, came back in August, still didn't have any word about the scholarship. Still was no change in how they treated me and anything else. And listen, by the time I got back after the session in August, in September, I got the notice that my loan was approved. So they were able to process the check to the school, and that was me. That's how I got my master's. I know I spent a lot of time on this broke one, but that is a huge excuse that people have to say that they cannot make progress, that they cannot be successful. There's a scripture that says that and this is God speaking, I have given you the power in your hands to get wealth. That means that he has equipped you with things. I remember in my brokest of days, this is when I would have just separated from my husband, had nothing, absolutely nothing but the clothes on my back. Let me tell you that I was able to rent an apartment. I had to borrow the deposit. I didn't really have a job. I mean, I can't even get into the circumstances around all of that. It was a miracle. And this was now, that would have been about 2 years after I would have completed the master's degree. And I go to the apartment, and the landlady, she tells me maybe a year or so afterwards, she said, and we're friends to this day because I'll never forget what she did for me. She said, I already had someone with the full deposit, but God told me to rent that apartment to you. And it was a semi-furnished apartment, so there was just the appliances in there. And when I tell you I moved in there with just my clothes, I didn't have a bed, I didn't have a television, I didn't have cable, and sometimes I didn't have light because I couldn't pay the bill all the time on time. But when you are favored, God will make a way for you out of no way. And he brought me through that season, but I spent 6 months. Thank God for girlfriends. I had a girlfriend who, she had a hope chest. You know, people back in the day used to just keep things in hopes of getting married. And so she had a hope chest. And she gave me sheets and towels. Her mom gave me cutlery out of her bridal set to set me up in this apartment. Another girlfriend gave me an air bed. And I'm telling y'all this because sometimes y'all look at people who are in the public eye and who are being visible, and y'all think that people have it all together, not understanding that there is struggle for everything. So there's one excuse on here that I don't have that I should have, and that it's too hard. This is too hard. In that process, I could have given up at any point. I could have given up when the people told me I passed the deadline for the scholarship. I could have given up when I said I didn't have the money to go. I could have given up when they said the ticket was $800. I could have given up when my marriage fell apart. I could have given up when I didn't have the money to rent the apartment. There are so many different points that you can give up. But they're only excuses. There is always a way, even though it's hard. The next excuse that we have is that we are too scared. I am too scared. You know how many people I know miss opportunities because it might be far away. It might be further than Florida because they maybe never heard of this state before, or they don't know anybody that lives in that state or lives in that country. You get an opportunity in Australia and I don't want to go because it's too far. I don't know anybody there. Come on, man. Scared can't be an excuse. You have to do it afraid. I remember when I got my first human resources opportunity at an executive level, but it was not on this island. I had to pack my life up, put my life on a plane and on a boat. And I remember my first day sitting in this condo in Abaco, looking at these suitcases and boxes in front of me by myself and thinking, what in the world did you just do? What did you just do? Like, your life is sitting there in boxes and bags and in this place where you don't have family, you don't know anybody here. But it turned out I had a few friends there, people who had moved from Nassau that I didn't even know were living there. But my thing is, I could have been scared. I could have said, I don't know anybody there. This is a new company. I left a government job to go into this new company. People even told me, they say, boy, they had a lot of controversy around this project. I don't know if that's a good idea. You're leaving your good government job and you go in on this project. You don't even know if that's going to last, right? I heard all of those things and ended up being there for 4 years, ended up living in Abaco for 3 more years. I stayed 7 years in Abaco. And that day, I can tell you, that was the only moment that I felt like that ever again. I immersed myself in the job. I immersed myself in the community. I was speaking. I was busier than I was in Nassau. Speaking engagements and going to church and involved in all sorts of things. I loved it. But if I had listened to my fears and the fears of other people, I would not have gone. What else do your excuses sound like? Too inadequate. I don't know enough. So, in the spirit of disclosure, since I'm telling you all my little secrets tonight, the panel discussion that I did this week in the Middle East was not what I presented to the organizers of that summit. I presented a completely different topic of what I wanted to do. And so when they told me that I was accepted, I assumed that it was to do that topic. When I got the acceptance and I read the email, I was like, now, wait a minute now. This isn't what I proposed. So first of all, I'm not speaking on my own. I'm in a panel discussion. And the topic is HR governance. I was like, HR governance, man, that ain't my zone like that. I wanted to do something on development. I wanted to talk about mentorship. And I was like, HR governance. This time now, my picture on the flyers, they pushing it hard on LinkedIn and all this stuff. I say, oh my God, what in the world? And then they pushed the flyer out with me and must be 5 other men. And I was like, what on God's green earth is happening here? I am the only female, the only Black female in a panel of these men from, I guess, wherever in the Middle East. And I'm like, what in the world is this? And I had that moment of, can I do this? Can I do this? Like this now is feeling like a stretch. This is not feeling like my comfort zone. I could talk about a bunch of other stuff, but I don't know about this topic. This isn't like one of my go-to topics. Plus, I'm with all these men, and here we go. So now we get into the panel discussion. These men start introducing themselves, and they talking about all the 30 years experience doing this, and this associate professor of this and that and that. And I'm like, what? Here am I, this little island gal on this platform. And I had people before the conference already starting to add me to LinkedIn. I'm getting all these friend requests, these connection requests from the Middle East, from Dubai and all these places. I'm like, what's happening? And I even had people messaging me. I'm looking forward to your presentation. These other people from, executives and whatever. And I'm like, what? This is a combination of scared and inadequate. We get to the discussion. I just started reading up just to get a sense of what, with the direction of what HR governance was and all of that stuff. And I just did some reading and all that. And I say, Holy Ghost, you got to do the rest. You got to fill my mouth with wisdom. And we get to the panel discussion, and the person that he started with, the moderator, he was kind of working his way clockwise. And so the person was like to the right of me on the screen, because this is Zoom, of course. And he started to have audio problems. His audio was like shot. Every time he tried to talk, nothing would happen. It was fuzzy, distorted, nothing. So the moderator had to tell him, well, work out your audio. We'll come back to you later. Simone. I say, whoa, out of all these people, why are you calling my name? Because I was hoping now that when you asked this question, that somebody else would answer, so I could just kind of ride off whatever everybody else was saying. But that was not my portion, because God was teaching me a lesson in that moment. And every question just about the moderator started with me. I was like, what? Why? But it was a test. It was a test, and I made it through. I had people afterward coming and sending connection requests. I really enjoyed your insights and your contribution at the panel. I was like, really? Like, seriously? I don't think I said much, but somebody liked it. So when we are thinking that our inadequacy makes us not enough, it is more than enough for somebody else. And that's not to mean that we're not to prepare ourselves, that we're not to refine our skills. That's not what I'm saying at all. I think that whatever we present to the public needs to be polished and it needs to be refined, but it doesn't have to be perfect. What you know, make yourself an expert at that, at your level of knowledge, and continue to grow and keep learning. Next one is too much competition. I hear people saying that a lot. There's too much in the market. You know how many coaches in the market, how many speakers in the market, how many teachers in the market, how many singers, how many dancers, how many artists, how many photographers, how many chefs. If we focused all of our attention on our competition, we would never start anything. We have to focus on our uniqueness, on our difference. All of us is different. And I don't care, you line up 50 coaches, each of them will have a different perspective, a different audience, a different style. You have people who would never listen to me. They just don't connect with me. But then there are some people that do. And so there's enough for everybody. There are people that are waiting to hear your voice, to receive from you, your wisdom, your style, your expertise. Next excuse we'll say, it's been too long. Now, how many people out there will say, I'm too old for this now. My time has passed. I'm just going to pour myself into my children, or I'll pour myself into my students, or I'll pour myself into somebody else's dream because my time is gone. That is a lie. I turned 50 this year, and I still feel like I have not accomplished all the things that I want to accomplish, even though I've accomplished things. And it's still not too late. You work until you die. You work until you die. So the time is not passing you by, but it will pass you by if you're not doing anything, if you're not making progress. And finally, you may say, well, it's too common. It's not grand enough. It's not fantastic enough. It's not fantastic enough. It's too common. It's not special. It's not unique. That's not true. Everything that we do is unique because we are unique. We are different. And when you embrace your uniqueness, then you will recognize that other people will embrace it too. In fact, they already think that you're unique. They already think that you're special. And so you need to just jump into whatever it is that you have in your heart to do. Jump into it. It is no excuse. No excuse whatsoever. Lord, and I can't believe that we are already almost 8 o'clock. So listen, my last thing on this point, we need to get rid of two-itis. Get rid of the two-itis. It can't be this, two that, two this, two that. Get over the two-itis, please. Please. You're just going to type too hard, eh? Epic for reals. I see you. I see you. Yeah. So you have two options. And I love this quote by Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins hits it hard all the time. If you got thick skin, you can listen to Tony Robbins. He ain't gonna play with you. He says, make progress or make excuses. Those are the two options that you have. So who's about making progress? Who is about making progress tonight? Put in the chat, I'm about it. I am about it. I'm about making progress. And I'm going to stop making excuses. So that's our success strategy tonight. Stop making excuses. We want results, not excuses. So when we move into our coaching moment, remember, we recognize, reframe, and reset. We want to acknowledge when you are avoiding making progress. So identify when you are making an excuse. When you get an opportunity, somebody approaches you at work and they tell you, we need you to make a presentation at the end of the month on XYZ, whatever it is. And that first response may be to say, I can't. Freeze that. Freeze that. Freeze that right there. And acknowledge that. Why can't you? Why can't you? What's the reason? What's the good reason? Is it because you're afraid? Is it because you feel you're inadequate? Is it because of competition? Is it because you have haters among your coworkers? Forget them. Forget anything. Get in there and take the opportunity. Remember? Silent no more. That was our hashtag from last night. Silent no more. Get visible. Get vocal. Show your value. So acknowledge when you are avoiding making progress and then reframe that. Disrupt that pattern of negative thinking about yourself and this sense of powerlessness that you don't have the power to do what you need to do. Because you do. And what you don't know, somebody else knows. You have people in your circle who can help you. You have me. Hello. You have the people who are watching along with you. There are people in your life, books, resources, videos. Listen, this is the era of knowledge. This is the information age. There is nothing that you can't expose yourself to that you can't find out about. You are not powerless. You are powerful. And start operating as if you are powerful, because you are. And then you want to reset. So you want to keep practicing that every time you feel that, and acknowledge where you feel it in your body as well. For some people, when they get a task that they're afraid of or that they feel is overwhelming, maybe they get an instant headache. Their whole head starts squeezing together. Or maybe they feel something in their chest, or maybe you feel it in your stomach, right? Acknowledge all of these things so that you know, when I feel these things, this is my trigger. And now I need to disrupt that. I need to do something different. All right. Y'all still with me? Y'all with me? All right. So I'm going to try in this 8 minutes to cover the next one. Number 6, overthinking. Who does that? Thinking. Overthinking. You think about a topic so much and so hard that you think the juice right out of it. You think that until that is just hanging by the threads. You don't think about that so hard. You think until smoke coming out the top of your head, you think about the thing so much. Stop it. They actually attribute overthinking to depression and anxiety. Overthinking is attributed to depression and anxiety. And oftentimes they say that people are either worrying about the past or they're worrying about the future. And what that does is it stalls you because it prevents you from living in your present. It prevents you from living in the now because you are so worried about what happened in your past. You are so worried about what mistakes you made. You are so worried about things that you've done that, Didn't work out before. You tried before and it didn't work. And so you're worried about failing again or making another mistake or stopping before you get anywhere. Some people worry so much about the future. Some people worry about, what's going to happen. People are worried now. What is our life going to be like with this whole COVID situation? What could we look forward to 2021? More of this? Some people are like, I don't even want to think about 2021. If 2020 was a trailer for 2021, I don't even want to see the movie. I don't want to see the movie. Right? Like, so by the time you finish worrying about these two existences, one that's already gone and one that hasn't even happened yet, what's happening with this space right here? What's happening with this space called now? Nothing, essentially. So overthinking will block your success because, and remember I told y'all before, all week long, you're going to see the common thread: inaction. Can you see that? Action is at the core of all of these success blockers. You're not doing what you need to do, or you're doing things that is not taking you in the direction that you need to go into because of the priorities and other things that we worry about. Okay? So our success strategy for this: make a move. That's our next hashtag for tonight. Make a move. Make a move. Get out of your comfort zone. Get out of two-itis. Get out of it. Make a move, even if it's a small one. It may not be as bold as this goldfish, and I don't know where he going. I opened it. There's another bowl there that he know about. Because that's what a lot of us worry about. What if I make this move and then I fall flat? Let me tell you something. You will not die in your pursuit. Even if you fall flat, there was a lesson in that. There was a lesson in that effort. And guess what? Most times you don't fall flat. So even if it's a little move, it doesn't have to be a massive move. It doesn't have to be where, you just jump on a plane. Hey, I going to America. I got $500 and I can make it big. I'm going to Hollywood. Go on then with your $500. I'm not saying that. And mind you, for some people, if they are led to do that, we've heard of people who have gone with less. But because it was a faith move, it worked out. And not that it wasn't hard, but it worked out. Have you ever listened to Tyler Perry's story of how he took all his life savings, $12,000, and put it into his play? He believed in his product so much. And in the first showing, he calculate and say, if I sell all these tickets and everybody's going to come and support this, and I'm going to flip this money. 30 people came to his first show. It rendered him broke. He was living in his car. And this man today could buy the whole Bahamas. He is hugely successful. And guess what? He owns everything. He didn't wait for Hollywood to open a door for him. He made his own Hollywood. This is the message for you all tonight and for me. Make a move. Whatever that move is, make a faith move and let that faith be in who you are. Let that faith be in the vision that you have. Let that faith be in the God that gave it to you. Knowing that he's not going to let you fail. A friend of mine, she's an amazing coach, Stanya Davis. Eve's journey. She said to me many years ago, and I was like, man, I don't know. I just make mistakes, man. I made these mistakes. She's like, listen here, there are no mistakes, only lessons. And when she said that, I was like, I had to go sit with that. And I'm like, because that's how I am. I'm a thinker, and I can tend to overthink sometimes. But I was like, that's true. That's true. Even though it feels like a mistake, even though it feels and it looks like failure, it's a lesson. It's a lesson. So make a move. Make a move. I'm so glad to see all of y'all about it. David, Shavane, Denise, Nisha, Vanessa, everybody, Charles, everybody is about it. Karanika, Trisha, Renee, I'm calling all y'all names tonight. Y'all about it? Y'all gonna make a move? Y'all gotta make a move, even if it's a small move. All right, so here's our coaching moment right on 8 o'clock. Look at God. Here we go, because I'm committed to making this an hour. So, overcoming analysis paralysis, also known as overthinking. Acknowledge when you are spending too much time in your head. If you find that you're just spinning and there's all these thoughts, and maybe you're even have insomnia about it, you're stewing about it, you're thinking, you're planning, that I found that I got in that mode. I was in that mode this year. Like, I was signing up for all these master classes. I was downloading all these books. I was listening to this webinar and the next webinar. And I need to prepare. I need to know. I need, some of it was valuable. But at the end of the day, I realized I was doing too much in the research space and nothing in the action space. I'm thinking about the future. I'm thinking about the past because I'm thinking about my lessons from the past that I don't want to repeat. And so I'm like, in order to fix the lessons from the past, I need to equip myself, and I have to fix all of those things that I didn't do before. And I got stuck. This year in 2020, stuck. And my business mentor, Paul C. Brunson, if you haven't followed him before, follow him now. He is amazing, gives amazing value. He just started BWP Connect. If you Google that, it's a mastermind, a monthly mastermind of webinars, and he just gives tons. Even if you follow his free stuff, if you follow his Facebook page and all the other things, that LinkedIn page is just amazing what he does. But in my one-on-one with him, he said, okay, you're in your head. Let me tell you about this concept in technology that they call ship it. Just ship it. He said it's a concept that means you just need to do something, even if it isn't quite right, even if it isn't perfect, do it. And when he was saying that, the only thing that came to my mind was shut up and ship it. Because the shut up was talking to me in my head. Shut this up and do something. Shut this up and do something. So that's become my mantra now. Shut up and ship it. That's how this webinar happened, this series. I just put the pressure on myself. I set the date. And I was like, you got to just shut up and ship it. You just got to do something. Get out there and do something. And stop thinking about everything. And in your movement is when you can now tweak and perfect and refine, because now I can say, okay, this is what I need to do differently. This is what I need to do next time. I'm not going to get stuck in this mode of it's not perfect, or I'm not perfect, or I don't know or understand these platforms. I am not a techie person, and I do not have a producer. I am running this stuff by myself. They really, listen, hashtag no excuses. Hello, somebody. No excuses and make a move. That's your messages for tonight. No more excuses, make a move. So disrupt that pattern of over processing everything and take a small element and just take action. And that's how you reset. Just keep taking action, even if it's a small step. Make that move so that you get out of that habit of overthinking or analysis paralysis. And so here we are, folks. I think my numbers are wrong in that instance. I think it's supposed to be number 6. Yeah, I think that was 5 and 6. We're doing 7 and 8 tomorrow. All right. So how y'all doing tonight? I finished my ranting and my preaching and my everything what I was doing tonight. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Y'all ready to make a move? Listen, make this move, please. Stop making excuses and make a move. We are in this thing together. And you're not going to be overwhelmed. You're not going to fail. You're not going to fall. Everything is going to work out in your favor. So as normal, I will share some resources after. And unfortunately, I can't do it from this platform because I'm streaming to my page, I'm streaming to the group, and I'm also streaming to YouTube. And so my comments, whatever I may post, won't get to all of the platforms. So as normal, I will go after the broadcast and I'll go onto the page and I'll share some resources for you. And listen, let's connect tomorrow night. Lockdown night. Let's lock down with some purposeful tips so that we can push forward. I'll be making some announcements and of what we're going to do next. If you haven't joined the private group, The Limitless You, you can feel free to join that group. It's only a few questions you need to answer. And I've posted everything in there. All of these sessions are in there. And all of the additional resources. I even have things that you can post, things that you can just have to remind yourself of what each of these success blockers are. And also some affirmations. I've been sharing affirmations. And if you don't want to join the group, I respect that as well, because you listen, groups can be tiring. Okay, so if you want to follow my public page for Facebook, Simone Elbow, the Limitless Life Coach, or my Instagram page, I'm also posting each point there every day. So on the following day, you will see whatever points we did and the corresponding affirmations. I post on Instagram and on my public page on Facebook. So no excuses, right? No excuses. You can go back, you can listen, you can just get the graphic, have that reminder, follow up on the resources if you need it. Listen, we can get it this year. We are going to get it. We are going to get out of our own way and we're going to be successful. Thank you so much for tuning in. I love all of you. Thank you so much. I am thoroughly enjoying spending this time with you, and I look forward to tomorrow night. I'm not going to bother you on Sunday. We're all going to get the night off. Use Sunday to reflect and to plan to make the following week exceptional and purposeful. All right, so I'll see you here, whichever platform you're on. I'll see you. Oh, and you can also join the YouTube page if you want to get the replays. They'll be on the YouTube page as well. That would be The Limitless You with Simone Elbow on YouTube. All right, so I'll see all of you tomorrow night at 7, the grand finale. Dun, 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 dun. All of these points have been so hot and heavy. What do you think could be tomorrow night? Number 7 and number 8. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Wait and see. Wait and see. Good night, everyone.